Yo, what's good, everybody? I'm here, I'm present, and Anyways, what's up, y'all? What's up, Bakery Gang? What up, BKG? Welcome back to another episode of Max Bakery. This is episode 10, I believe, of the podcast. And I know last week we talked about revamping and, being authentic. I think this episode doesn't really have a title. I think it's something I'm sure later down the road, but whatever. We're going to get into it right away, right now. So let's get it cracking. Let's get it popping. This week has been very interesting. You got the NBA finals going on. Conference finals going on. You got music dropping, Chris Brown dropping videos. What else is going on? That's all I can really think of. I don't know. But I'll think as I go. Anywho, let's just talk about our week for a second. Let's talk about, what's going on, like, in our lives. When I say ours, I mean me and you. But it's technically mine, but y'all are sharing it with me. You get the point. This week has been weird. Dealt with a lot of different attitudes and people and, scenarios. And I have to say I've handled myself very well. Even though there were moments where I could have just, decided to be a real jerk, but I chose not to. And I think that's a good thing for me because that shows growth. Any other time I'd be ready to fight, or I'm ready to cuss somebody out, or I'm ready to call somebody names. But I won't do that because, I want to be a better man, a better, peer, a better coworker, a better example to the younger generation and anyone that looks up to me. It's hard sometimes because you just come across things that just piss you off, and you have to go the correct route. Sometimes I don't want to do that, but I know I have to. Otherwise, somebody may follow my footsteps and repeat the same mistakes I've made. But I refuse to let that happen. So I'm focusing more on the future. I'm focusing more on the now and what I can control as far as anything and everything that comes my way. Because you never know what's going to happen. Things just happen for whatever reason. So, what point am I trying to make? Where do I want to go with this? There's a lot of life that happens to us, right? And we get in these moments where, like, we're just sitting there and we're just like, damn, like, why is this happening? And what's going on here? And why can't I get a job? And are these people looking at my resume? Is my resume good enough? Do I qualify for anything? And I've dealt with that plenty of times. I've done it maybe about over 1,000 times. I don't know. There's no accurate number for me, but I have done it millions and millions of times. Even now to this day, I try to catch myself before I get into that mode of, I wouldn't say negative thinking, but also second guessing myself. And what I mean when I say second guessing myself is, let's say I feel one way about this and I know and I think that it's going to be the right thing, but I go back and I change my mind, or not necessarily change my mind, but I go back and think about it and I'm like, oh, well, what is this person going to think? Or what is that person going to think? Or it's so many thoughts that go through my mind, and I don't know why I do it, because at the end of the day, I just don't care. I'm more worried about Is it the right decision or not? And if it's not, okay, how do we bounce back and make a better decision for the next time? And you don't really want to dwell on your past. You know, dwelling on your past can be horrendous. It keeps you stuck. It causes a lot of anxiety, and it also causes you to feel like you're not good enough. And I preach about it all the time. Always feeling like you're good enough. Always feeling like a king, a queen, somebody who's of importance. Because we're all important to this world. Everybody's important. Everybody's important to somebody. And whether that be relationship or not, or you got family, you got very close friends and things like that. So it's like, how can we as people, as human beings, program and reprogram our brains to know that life is going to give you anything that it wants. It's all about perspective and how we handle what is given to us. Right now, I know I'm in a job where I love that job. Been working it I've been with the company for a year, but the position I'm in, I've been working for about maybe 6, maybe 7, almost 9 months. And there are days where I go in and I feel like my work ethic isn't good enough for them. So I try to find ways to, I find ways to give more effort. I find ways to contribute to our work, not necessarily our work, but in anything that can be resourceful in a sense to my boss or even the manager. I feel like I can give and give and give and give and give, but what if it's not received? What if it's overlooked? What if it's not taken seriously? So that in my head, when it's not going forward or when it's not how I imagined it or saw it to be, then it makes me think like, well, why am I here? What is my purpose here? And every day I go in with a positive attitude almost 99.9% of the time. But there's also that 1% when I'm by myself that makes me just want to be left alone. And I can't always have it like that because I have to contribute to spreading positive vibes. And I don't have to do that, but it makes for a better workplace. If you're working somewhere and you're always coming in the door with a negative attitude and you're angry and somebody pissed you off before you got there or the day before or 2 days before, all the time, you're not going to have a good day. You're not going to have a fun work experience because you're always thinking about these things. And thinking about these things causes clutter. So when you're cluttered or feeling a certain type of way, a certain mood, everything just gets in your way. Everything's a distraction. Everything's messed up. You don't feel like yourself. You don't feel like you're important. You don't feel like you're doing the right thing because all these thoughts just come and cloud your sunlight. And that in return can lead to some very dark places. You don't want to go down the dark road. You don't want to go down the dark places. It's just not safe. It's not fun. It's cold. It's dirty. It probably stink too. And I know what it feels like. I've had experiences, but I'm pretty sure other people have experienced, if not that, something different. I just know it's important to always, and this is from stuff I've heard and from other people, but you just control what you can control at the end of the day. There's no need to feel like the world is coming crashing down because it's not. The only way the world will come crashing down is if we somehow get invaded by aliens, which I'm not gonna comment on that. They ain't got nothing to do with me. But if we just somehow get pirates, which again, I don't think that would ever happen either. Let's just say some tragic thing just happened, and we're just in turmoil. Then I would understand. Okay, world's coming to a very scary place, which it is, but nothing drastic like that has happened, and I pray to the Lord that it doesn't happen. I won't be out here fighting and surviving for my life. I'm ready to fight at that point. You know what I'm saying? So just take things serious, but also remember that you don't have to make everything a fat deal. Some stuff, yes, but there are little things that will never that should never change your mood or your perspective on life. This isn't how I see it. I don't see it that way. So just keep pushing, man. I'm telling you, it's gonna be all right. So now that we got that out of the way, I also want to talk about, and I know I'm taking a long time to say it, but I'm trying to put it into words to where it makes sense and it's clear. I want to talk about not self-evaluation, but kind of like a self-perspective, kind of like I guess you could say a backtrack or not a flashback, but a replay on life. I'm sorry, not life, but current. Let's think about that. Let's do a replay on current events. Not necessarily in the world, but I mean, it can be in the world, but it can also be in our life, just a replay on life. I recently have, and I don't want this to any of my friends. I don't want this to come off as like I'm trying to bash you guys or make y'all feel like you're terrible people. But this is just stuff that I've felt that I have not told anybody or told specific people, and it's for reason. I just feel more comfortable not explaining it to them yet. I'd rather just say it right here. So, if they watch it, they'll hear it or see it. But more importantly, I would rather me just say it here, and whatever is heard is heard. But recently, I have realized that my presence, my attitude, my words, and my person, in my eyes, seems to trigger a lot of perspectives. It also seems to trigger a lot of others' attitudes. And I haven't been okay with it, but I've been okay with it. Reason why I've been okay with it is because it's just who I am. It's how I've grown up. It's what I've grown to know, and it's how I had to proceed with life. The reason why it's not okay is because I don't know what I can do to make things better for anybody. And that's okay. I'm not going to sit here and try to be somebody different for your happiness or for anyone's happiness. I am who I am at the end of the day. But I find it funny, and I find it that it sucks when I go into an establishment or a setting and I have to feel like I can't be myself. Again, we talked about it last week, being authentic with this podcast. I'm being as real as I can. I find it that it sucks when I have to dial things back. I find it funny when it's only me, and nobody else. Now, granted, if I've heard it for so many years, if nobody's messing with you, that means they don't like you. but also it comes to a point where it's annoying. It gets to the point where it's overdoing it. And there's only a select few. If I had to count on my hand, there's only probably 3 people that I'm okay with messing with me because I know it's a genuine joke. I feel like a lot of people take my kindness for weakness and they pick on me or say stuff to me because they know that I'm going to react a certain way. But when I'm serious, I'm serious. And I try not to bring that side out of me. But when I've had enough, I've had enough. I don't think a lot of people realize it. So being vulnerable right now, I have started therapy. Like I started therapy a couple weeks ago. And I talked to my therapist about how I felt about that kind of stuff. And he kind of asked me, well, what's going on in these situations where you're feeling this way? And I explained it to him and I told him the truth. And I let him know, you know, what it is that bothers me, what it is that's said to me that makes me feel a certain way, or what's triggering me to make me feel or act a certain way. And he's asked me, well, have you known these people for years? Have you been around them all your life? Some I have, yes. And some I have not. But the ones I have been around for years, there's only one person in each group that, I'm sorry, there's only one. Yeah, well, yeah, I guess, because I have different friend groups, but there's only 3. And out of those 3, there's only 2 people that are different friend groups that I don't know why those balloons just popped up like that. That was random. But there's only one person in each of those groups, and those 2 groups, that have given me a reason to trust them. And I've had separate conversations with them, and it showed me a different side of them that I didn't think actually existed. And this is not me trying to get pity. This is not me trying to be sad or look for any type of validation. But I know for me, what the heck is up with all these balloons? What is that? What is that? That needs to stop. That needs to stop. I don't know what that was. Anywho, I just feel like I'm so fed up sometimes. And I'm trying to work on it. I'm trying to work on my attitude. I'm trying to be a better person. But I can't deal with people's attitudes sometimes. Or I can't deal with people's ways of action. Because I could easily be like, oh, screw you. Don't talk to me. I hate you. This, that, and the third. But I won't. Because there's no reason for me to retaliate. I could. And I might get a title that I'm mean and this and that. But I mean, honestly, do I care? No. But do I want to hear that every time? No. So it's like, when can I see a difference in behavior? When can I see not so much it being about me? I don't want all that type of attention. If I wanted attention, I could do so many other things, but I'm choosing not to. And I don't want negative attention either, because then that messes with a person's mind and puts them in a mind frame of, oh, well, nobody cares. I shouldn't even say anything. But that's besides the point. But when I talked to my therapist, he kind of let me know, like, hey, you know, if that's something that you're feeling, maybe you should evaluate your friendships, your friend groups, and who you choose and dictate to share a special bond with versus those who are acquaintances. And I didn't think about it that way until he said it that way. And I was like, wow. I was like, that's kind of deep. And so dealing with that this week, it kind of put my mind in a different perspective of just realness. It also made me feel like, damn, I'm really not the problem. People make it seem that way, but I'm really not the problem. So why am I feeling like I have to isolate myself? And I have isolated myself for the better of me until I feel ready to have conversation and talk and do this and do that. But I don't want anybody crap. I don't want anybody no explanation. I don't want anybody anything. I do things out of the kindness of my heart, but it's like, how can I do that if y'all take that stuff for granted? You're not being real with me. You don't care. You just want to see me mad. You want to make it about you, or not even make it about you, but you just don't care. So if you don't care, why should I care? So maybe I should just take a step back and do me. Yeah, it's gonna be pissing people off, but I don't care. I'm looking out for the better of myself. I'm looking out for my mental health. I'm looking out for my happiness. At the end of the day, I can control what I can control. I can't control what you do. Love you from a distance. We friends, but I'm not gonna sit here and keep taking disrespect from nobody. I know that. And I feel like the next time I feel some type of disrespect, I'll either be quiet or I'll get quiet. And then I'll let you know on the side when we're not in public or around other people, and let you know, like, hey, I'm going to keep it real. I didn't like what you said. I don't care that you said it, but I don't like it. So just letting you know. And depending on how you take it, if you don't want to be my friend, cool. See you. Peace. But if you respect me enough and you understand where I'm coming from, you're going to take it serious. And you're going to know that I'm not one of these regular people. I'm your friend. And if I'm not your friend, then let me know so we can stop hanging out. Because I won't put up with it. Not no more. I've stayed silent long enough, and I've done enough to where I've built a perspective. I've built an understanding that letting things slide is just not always the answer. So I just had to let that be known and let y'all know about my week. But in other news, I want to talk about some music. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, anyways, we'll figure that out. We'll figure an intro out for that. Anyways, music, man. Chris Brown. Everybody knows. Everybody who loves me, everybody knows. I love Chris Brown, man. Favorite artist. One of my GOATs. Hands down, the king of R&B. Michael Jackson Jr. And crucify me, I don't care. I said what I said, and I'll say it again. He is the MJ of this generation. You can have your little funky Bruno Mars. You can have, I don't know, whoever else is out there, but nobody is doing the things that Chris Brown is doing, and that's facts, and that's period. You can't convince me otherwise. There is nobody I've seen musically talent-wise that has done the things that he is doing still to this day at 34. I'm sorry. Yes, 34. He's 34 or 35. He's one of those. And this is not me. Oh, you're obsessed with Chris Brown. Oh, stop glazing. I'm not. It's not glazing. It's not being obsessed. It's respect. I'm giving that man his flowers. I've always given that man his flowers. But nobody wants to do that. I think he sucks because of the incident that happened years ago. And then I hear, oh, his music doesn't sound the same. It's not supposed to. The man's 34. He's not singing about little kid crap anymore. He's singing about real deal. It's a little sexual, but if your ears can't take it, go listen to somebody else. Hell, y'all be listening to Sexy Red, and she ain't rapping about nothing. Please. I don't want to hear it. Y'all go listen to all these other new artists. Y'all listen to all these boo-boo artists who ain't singing, rapping about nothing. But when it comes to Chris Brown, because it's different and it's versatile, then it's a problem. Oh, God forbid Drake do it, though. Oh, y'all love Drake. And the only reason y'all hate on Chris Brown is because of the Rihanna situation. That happened years ago, and it's facts. You can DM me, comment whatever you want, and say I'm wrong, but you know it's facts. That's the only reason why anybody ever hates on Chris Brown. That's why he can't get no awards. That's why he ain't been on no shows. Everybody else respects him except for these lame old companies that want to downplay my guy, and that's real. Anybody gonna downplay him? I'm not downplaying him. So we respect Chris Brown over here. I'm just let it be known, sucker. Yeah, what you talking about? Huh? And I say it again. Get that man his flowers, and that's period. No, don't say that. That's not. I wasn't supposed to say that. Why did you say period? Why? God bless America. Anyways, moving on from music. Let's get into the sports world. I've been seeing a lot about football and basketball, really. More so basketball, because I've seen a lot about Bronny, and this particular draft has not been a very sit down, let me watch type of thing. I feel like a lot of the players are great. Don't get me wrong. They are fantastic athletes. They have, obviously they're there for a reason, because they grinded and got themselves there to the point where they're being noticed and recognized by all these NBA teams, NBA scouts, finding managers, things of that nature. I think Bronny, just to talk about one person, because he's the only person I know, but I think as far as Bronny, in my opinion, I think that with him having the cardiac arrest, him only playing a few minutes in college, and just whatever else was going on, I think that if you want to go for the draft, by all means, kudos to you. If you feel like you're ready, by all means, do it. And, of course, you have the name James, which is, again, my GOAT, LeBron James. You're the son of LeBron James. So that carries weight. And I think that with all that he's done in college and the things that he was able to do versus what they decreased from him was great. I think he did a little bit of, learning, some passing, some, everything that has to do with college. Do I feel like he's developed enough to go to the NBA? Not really. I think that he should have spent maybe another year there in college just to keep learning, keep growing. But on the contrary, I think that same thing with his dad. His dad didn't go to college. That's the difference between him and his son. They both didn't go to college. But his son is a freak of nature. They're both freaks of nature. Even his younger son, Bryce, is a freak of nature. He's still in high school, of course, and he's going to go to college, or I'm sure he's going to go to college. I hope he does. But with Bronny, I think the reason why I say yes is because he's like, I don't even know how to really describe it. Like, his combine was really, really good. So if he were to get drafted, I wouldn't be disappointed. I would be very happy for him. But I also feel like there's still some growth there. So maybe, if they draft him, he goes to the G League for a year or two, and then he gets brought up to the main roster. However, there's a lot of players, so it's going to be hard to decide, like, oh, yeah, we're going to bring him up. I mean, there's another player who didn't go to college who was, well, I think he did. Yeah, he went to Duke. I'm sorry. I don't know if there's anybody else that wasn't in college that long that's getting picked up. I mean, Wemby, but he was playing professional, so it's not really the same. But I mean, if you could compare that versus, Bronny, I mean, the man only had a year in college. He didn't play that much. And then you have Wemby, who was a freak of nature as well. Didn't play in college, played overseas, and then played professional. It's kind of like the same thing, but not really. The only reason why I say that is because Bronny didn't go to college that long and didn't play in college that long. It was a very short trip. Versus with Wemby, he didn't go at all. So it's like that kind of like, to me, it cancels it out because they both didn't really do college like they should have. But I don't know. I think I see a bright future with Bronny. I see potential. I see a lot of potential. And then other than Bronny, and I've seen this a lot too, this whole Caitlin Clark thing. Why is every woman in the WNBA trying to hurt that girl? Just because she was so cold in college, and now she's bringing all this revenue, all this exposure to the WNBA where they're getting paid and going on jets and things like that. Now it's a problem. I need to leave that girl alone because she's simply just playing basketball. That's it. She's still a human being at the end of the day. So to feel like people in this world have a right to say anything on how she lives her life or how she's looked at is trash. You can't just judge somebody just based off of what you've seen. She is probably a very nice individual on the inside. And the fact that people are judging and saying these things and saying that she's this and she's that. Same thing with Angel Reese. Like, these women put their heart into everything that they're doing in the league right now, and y'all want to tear it down for what? Because she's better than you? I mean, really, like, get over yourself. Let it go. Like, she's making bread. Like, you should be happy. You want to make bread like that? Go work somewhere that makes that kind of bread. Oh wait, you can't because you're not a professional athlete. I'm not either. I'm sitting behind a camera, but if I was at a younger age and I was still able to play sports, I would. But I'm not. I have retired from high school extracurriculars. I can't really say retired. I graduated, so. I mean, I could play at the park, but what is that? I don't make money at the park. Pfft. Really? But, yeah. Let that girl be. Leave it be. Let it alone. But that's all I got to say today. I should have did this episode sooner, but hey, man, life is life. That's all I can tell you. Anywho, that's all I got for today. I am going to try to get another episode out by next Friday. I will be dropping this today, so it'll be sometime this afternoon or tonight. Who knows? It's already 4:05, so it'll be dropped by tonight, I'm sure. But I appreciate y'all for always watching. Thank y'all for showing so much love, and it's appreciated. It goes a long way. It keeps me motivated, keeps me on the right track, and lets me know that I'm heard. So with that being said, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Like this. Yeah, we rolling, we doing our thing. Hey, bad little shawty, she looking for me, but I gotta keep a low profile. Can't get exposed. Letting these